Good afternoon everyone and welcome to the Ashburton District Council meeting for Wednesday the 5th of November. First of all, I'd like to call for apologies, and I have one from Councillor Phil Everest. Would someone like to move that we accept this apology? Councillor Ellis, a seconder. Councillor Hooper, all those in favour, aye. Against, carried, thank you. Is there any extraordinary business? No. And any declarations of interest? No. Thank you. We will go now to the confirmation of minutes for the Inaugural Council meeting on the 29th of October. And I would like to ask someone to move that the minutes of the 29th of October 2025 Inaugural Council meeting be taken as read and confirmed. Councillor Cameron, you'd like to move that?
I'd love to do that, thank you.
And Councillor Todd, you'll second that. All those in favour? Aye. Against, no. Carried, thank you. So reports. So our first report is on page 5, and Ashburton District Council governance structure appointments to committees and organisations for the next 3 years. Any questions?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Do I direct them to you? Nobody down that end? Or to us? Okay.
Yeah.
I have some questions with regards to the expense calculations, if you like. Is this the time to not do those yet?
We're doing the governance structure now.
Okay,
yep.
Right. So I'll wait.
Yep. Yep. So are there any questions on the governance structure? You'll see in there that there are a couple of biodiversity groups that are to be advised, so they will come at a later date, I guess, once we hear they were a regional meeting. And just for your information, I am continuing on as the chair of the Community Vehicle Trust that I chaired through my Safer Mid-Canterbury work, and I've decided to stay for another year as the chair of that. Councillor Cameron.
When I go onto the governance structure, and correct me if I'm premature, we're talking about elected members elected to various committees.
Yep.
Primarily, we have the Regional Landfill Joint Committee, which Russell is Councillor Ellis, and the Mayor is the alternate. And we have the RDR, which I think the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Wilson, is on that group. Can you tell me, for the benefit of those that are listening, what happens to if there is or is not compensation for being a member of those committees, please?
So the directorship?
Yes, thank you.
That goes to the councillor directly, is that
in terms of, through you, Madam Chair, in terms of RDR, there is director's remuneration for that role, and a change was made last year where it had previously come to council, but it exposed issues of liability, and that representative, or that director, does now receive the remuneration agreed by the RDR board directly.
Mm-hmm. And the other one, the one that Councillor Ellis is on?
So Councillor Ellis is going to the Joint Landfill and Waste Management, and from the Joint Landfill, Joint Landfill Committee, there is an opportunity for one of the other councillors on that group to go to Transwaste, but that's not a given. That will be decided
I understood
next year.
That there was also, like, and correct me if I'm wrong because I've never been on this particular group, that there's $3,000 or $4,000 attached to that, or am I wrong about that? Okay. So when we had a meeting, I think 6 months or a year ago, I think we discussed directorships. I'm reasonably confident about that, and the directorships go to the individual that attends a director, and there's no constraints on that directorship financially or otherwise with whatever they do with those monies. Is that correct? Have I understood that correctly?
Yes, you have. We only have really one, and that is the RDR. So when you consider what is a director as opposed to a council appointed representative on a joint committee of some other description, then the particular conversation in relation to being a director really only affects, in terms of this list, the RDR appointee.
Okay. So, and I take on board your comment with regards to the risk. So Councillor Wilson then will have to get independent indemnity insurance or independent liability to manage the risks of that directorship. Is that correct?
That's true, and I imagine he would expect the company to take that out on his
Yeah,
behalf
but
as a
it
director.
doesn't come from the council.
No, he's acting as a director is quite different to a community representative. So he has all the obligations under the Companies Act, all the responsibilities under as a full director of RDR, and those arrangements are quite different to all the other appointments on this list.
That's right. I understand that. So I
Is there a
think
further question? Yeah.
no.
No. Councillor Ellis?
Thank you. The Environment Canterbury River Rating Districts, how do we ensure we're informed of those meetings? Because it has, unfortunately, sometimes we find out a bit about the meeting after the fact in the last term. So how do we sort of going to manage that, I suppose?
Yes, a work in progress, but following this meeting or following confirmation of the recommendations here, we will advise Environment Canterbury of those representatives, and in that advising we'll point out that they need to be given plenty of time to attend to those meetings, and then if any of the representatives hear of those rating district meetings happening either at very last minute or yesterday and they didn't know, then please let us know in the office and we'll take it up on your behalf.
Thank you. Councillor Wilson?
With all the standing committees and the other councillors have the right to go to those meetings?
That's correct, yes.
And do they have speaking rights?
They will have speaking rights.
They won't have voting rights.
That's
if they're
correct.
standing. Yes, thank you.
And those standing committees then come to full council, which is when you can discuss. Yeah. Thank you. Would someone like to move the recommendation that council adopts the 2025 to 28 governance structure and elected member appointments as follows? Councillor Wilson, seconded Councillor Maxwell. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Carried. Thank you. Next we have item number 6, which is on page 9. We have the elected members' remuneration following the 2025 triennial elections. And Tony's up the front if we need to ask any questions. The recommendations, there's 6 recommendations, but I think we'll take them as one. Any questions? Councillor Cameron.
Would this be the time to ask for my questions around the expenses?
You can do, yes.
Yeah. Through the chair to the officer, with regards to expenses, for example, I read in the report we have the ability to claim for petrol expenses, the ability to claim for childcare expenses, and the ability to claim for sort of a safety at home type of expense. Is that, if I read that correctly, have I understood that correctly?
Thank you, through the chair. So the determination allows for that. We're bringing you shortly the policy that council has itself, which doesn't expressly allow for that. We'll be talking to you in a few weeks' time about whether you want to bring that into council's policy
The
position.
latter one or all of them?
Latter one. So
Okay.
the other two are already included in the elected members'
But the
reimbursement
home improvement
policy.
one is external to that and not being considered.
Correct.
Not
Yes.
home improvement.
No.
No.
Security.
Security.
Well, yes, that's right. So with regards to the petrol or the fuel claiming, it's $1.17 to a maximum of 14,000 K, is that correct? Or is that the maximum? I'm just trying to clarify that so people realise what the expenses are, because the community is paying for this. I'm trying to just elucidate what I think is a reasonable question.
It is. Let me just pull up the policy.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
Yeah, Philippa has confirmed that.
It is a maximum.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I do 50,000 Ks in a year, I'm capped out at whatever that is. Yeah. And is the staff keep an eye on that as a log or whatever? Do you need to fill a log book in for that?
So no, you don't. You complete a claim form. you would give the distance that you travelled from home to council or the place of council business
Yeah.
that you're required to be
Okay.
at, and you would be paid up to $1.17, up to 14,000 k's. After that, it drops back to 37 cents per k.
Oh, so there's not, it doesn't max out
There's a
it.
differential between petrol, diesel, petrol hybrid,
Okay.
and electric.
So, because that's not in the report, the 37 cents, I don't think, that I read. I only read the $1.17.
It's in the determination, apparently.
It's in the determination. Where do I find that? Somewhere else.
There's a link to it on this
Okay,
report.
thank you.
On page 10.
Thank you. I have two more questions with your indulgence, Madam Mayor. The next one is relating to the Mayor's vehicle. Does the Mayor choose the vehicle that the Mayor wants and the options that the Mayor wants? Is that correct? Or do we vote on that? Or has it done any cost benefit allowance, any work on what's the best way and the most affordable way for the ratepayer, who I presume is picking in the community, to manage the Mayor's transportation?
Thank you, through the chair. So that is also covered off in the determination, which is part of the legislation, which is hyperlinked
I saw the
through.
formula, 40% of the price times 20%, which comes to about $3,500, I think, or $4,000. I read that for full private use, but I'm just wondering, do we do analysis and advise the Mayor what is the best option in terms of the community with regards to how she may choose her transportation?
I'm sure the Mayor will be choosing the best.
I'm sure the
Option.
Mayor will be, but as the third, I'm thinking about you in the third person, does she get that information to, yeah.
Hamish.
If I can perhaps put some context around how historically it has run, the former mayor simply chose an existing car that was in the council fleet that was coming up for replacement, and took that car as a suitable vehicle for his purposes that didn't require specific purchase or decision over what type of vehicle was necessary. And I'm not quite sure how Mayor Liz proposes to approach it, but in informal conversations that I have had with her, that would be her similar approach.
Okay. So Mayor Liz will advise the community, presumably at some stage, of how that has been dealt with in terms of the overhead of that.
Well, I don't know that Mayor Liz will specifically advise the community, to put it in your words, but it is not a secret that she
No,
will have a
that's
council
what
car.
I mean.
It's in the
available.
recommendation.
Yeah, I
in
saw
front
that,
of
full
you,
private
yeah.
use, I
So-
saw that.
And being a public meeting, that information is out.
I just wondered if we knew what the cost of that is, but it's probably too premature to ascertain that at the moment. But I would like those costs to be reported frequently so that the community can see them rather than in the annual report, which is difficult to dig out. That would
I
be,
think the thing that you have to keep in mind is that the mayor is entitled to claim mileage for council business if she uses her own car, and if she uses a council supplied car, then that's an alternative way of being a mayor. The issue around private use is where the mayor pays
yeah, I understand.
for the private use, and it's an important point to make to the community, in that so much of a mayor's role is difficult to distinguish between one thing and another, and a number of mayors simply choose to pay the agreed price and the determination for using the car for both personal and work use, and then they never need to justify why going to one place or another was one particular thing or the other.
Yeah. Councillor Todd.
Thank you.
Question?
Just regarding home security, what does that cover? Like, is it an interior alarms? Is it cameras? Not that I'm thinking of doing it, but
I think we've got a workshop on this coming up in a couple of weeks. Is it up to $4,000 of security cameras? Is that correct?
That's correct, yes, and we'll go over that in more detail. Right now, we don't have that allowed for in the budget, so it would be an increase to the budget if we were to put it into the policy.
And that's up to each individual councillor if they wish to pursue that. Is that?
There's two steps. It's not currently permitted by council
Okay.
policy. It's allowed for under the termination. So if the council decides to adopt that policy, then it becomes available to councillors who feel the need, and then they would be able to make an individual decision to that regard.
Councillor
Sorry,
Cameron.
my final question.
Oh, yes, sorry.
If I would like to seek support around the table for the expenses to be more transparent and not necessarily always in the annual report, like 3 monthly or 6 monthly or whatever, what is the process for doing that? How do I seek support for that? Do I do it now, or do I wait till I wait till after we have the conversation with regards to the security system, or when's the time to do that?
My recommendation to you would be to craft a specific resolution so the wording is very clear, and then you propose that at a future meeting.
Okay.
So all councillors can understand exactly what it is that you're looking to achieve.
Okay. Thank you.
Would that
Cheers.
come to a council meeting or audit risk and finance meeting?
Oh, well, ultimately has to come to a council meeting
So-
because there's no delegated authority. So
Okay.
I would suggest it could come directly to council, but if it came through the committee, it would end up in the same place.
Thank you. Cheers,
Okay.
Amy.
Councillor Todd,
Sorry,
you're fine.
one more thing. What's the mayoral car? Is there a formula for the deduction for private use, or is it a set
Yes,
amount?
there is. It's very clear. It's a formula. It's in the determination, and the calculation is just a mathematical exercise, and you can't vary from that by decision.
Any further questions? If not, there is a recommendation there and we will take it in full. Would someone like to move that recommendation? Councillor Ellis. And a seconder. Councillor Hooper. Any discussion? No, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Next item is item number 7. And that is on page 18. And that is the 2026 schedule of council meetings. So you would have all received the calendar. Any questions on that? Councillor Wilson.
Some of the, as I've been appointed head of the Stockwater meeting, some of those other meetings, will we be able to schedule them in very quickly to get them in the roster? Because obviously it's important to keep those things going, and having no chair for a few months, there's a few of them have not fallen off, but we need to get them up very quickly, not next year, next week type scenario, really, in a way. It's more the words I'll be using.
Yes, no, I understand the point, and of course it rests around the reality that when the previous council finishes, all these things come to an end, you have to start them up again. But those people who are now have roles with those committees just simply need to talk to governance and the relevant GM, and meeting rhythm can start just as soon as you want, really, now that the people are in place.
Councillor Cameron.
We have a lot of workshops and things scheduled into the calendar, and they don't have names on them. Are they just placeholders? Because that's when we'll run the workshops, essentially.
Yeah.
And they're based on previous years' quantum of workshops?
Yes, it's based on our experience of both how council has operated historically and work that we know is coming up. We're very conscious of the annual plan and budget work that's coming up, and while we can make an estimate of how many workshop opportunities you might need to go through that, it can always take more or less depending on the rhythm of the group. So we just do our best to block out diaries, really, so that everyone knows that there is something coming, and then we can utilise it for the needs as they become clearer.
I appreciate that, actually. Thank you.
Councillor Ellis.
Thank you. Is it correct, Mel, is that even though we're accepting this meeting calendar, there's very good chances that during the next year things will vary, and I'm just doing this for clarification probably, that as need arises, we may have to have other meetings on other days around annual plan time if we have hearings and those sorts of things, just so that, because we're agreeing to this today, doesn't mean this is exactly what it'll be for the following year. Is that
Yep.
correct?
And that's on point 10 on page 19, which says that, and taking into consideration some of the feedback that I got around having 3 weekly council meetings, so that's been put in place. Also the preference for Tuesdays being the alternate council day instead of Thursday, we've put that in place as well. You'll notice that road safety, biodiversity, they are set dates, so they're quarterly, so they're in place. We've got workshops as placeholders, but things will possibly change, but it's just for the year to go. Councillor Wilson.
For the Chief Executive to clarify, one of the biggest things we do in the next 6 to 8 months is the annual plan, and that council meeting on the 30th, is that when you're targeting to have it 30th of June?
It's a Tuesday, yes.
June.
Yeah.
That is it's just to clarify that this sort of a very important time frame we meet, and I'm just looking at the council to see we've got a break after that, but we're wanting to have done the annual plan by then, effectively.
Well, we legally have to. So
Yes.
the annual plan has to be adopted by council prior to the financial year starting, which is the 1st of July. So we put a meeting in place to give us all the maximum amount of time to consider the various iterations of the plan and its various components on the journey to adopting it. So we put in place a placeholder to say that is the day that we will have to adopt it. If indeed it was prepared, a month earlier because it went really well, we would utilise an existing council meeting, and we could drop that one off if possible. But we put it in play now so that as you make your own plans around your council life, you can see that there is a meeting scheduled at this stage on that date.
And Philip has just reminded me that on Monday, Methven Community Board verbally agreed to their meeting dates, and you will also see there are a couple of LGNZ sector meetings and the conference dates in there as well, so you get an overview of those. Any other questions? No. Would someone like to move that we adopt, is it? Sorry, I'll go back to the adopt those schedule. Councillor Todd, Councillor Moffat, any discussion? No. All those, Councillor Moffat, discussion? No. Yes?
Sorry, I was just seconding.
Yes, you've seconded, got that, thank you. All those in favour, aye? Aye. Against? No, carried, thank you very much. Next, we are on item 8, service provisions over Christmas and New Year. And we have Katie Perry up to... So everyone would have read the report. Are there any questions on that report? Councillor Cameron.
Through the chair, thank you. Hi, Katie. With regards to people on call, I presume that like Neil will have people on call for water mains and sewers and stuff, and everybody with emergency. Are there any councillors required to be on call over the shutdown period? And if there is, I presume it's the mayor and the deputy mayor. Are there unavailability? Does it just work its way around, or what? So there's a crisis.
Perhaps I can answer that. This is very focused on council's operations at the time of the Christmas sort of slowdown, and therefore that's why it doesn't contemplate the council per se. We do have the executive committee in place for emergency decision making should it be necessary over that period. It is hard to see what issue might generate the need for the executive committee to meet. It could, one of the things that sometimes happens are emergency management events, but the mayor has the authority to declare. Therefore, you don't need the executive committee to do that. If there was some issue, I guess, with the chief executive, the executive committee might have to meet in that time between councillors meeting. But it's hard to see any other reason why we would require council law input over that period.
Thank you.
Councillor Ellis.
Thank you. We have an after hours number which gets directed through to, is it Palmerston North, I think it is, where the base is. Just want to check in that that's all working, really well, because when we close down, it's an even more important service almost, because there's no time during the day anyone can see us face to face here. So just want to check in that that's still all operating well.
And we actually went for, Gordon and I went up and visited Palmerston North City Council a month or so ago to talk to them about AI, but we did actually talk to them about customer service, and I think that it's a real area of focus for them, so they are actually wanting to grow that function, and they're integrating AI into their practices. So I think feedback so far is it's going well, and Sarah might have more specifics from a customer service perspective, but overall it was an impressive operation when we were up there.
I just have one question on the Mountain Hut Memorial Hall. So they're just open 10 till 2 between Christmas and New Year. Is it difficult to get staffing for that time for 4 hours each day? And do they keep a record of numbers through the door? Tony, will you answer that? Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Liz. Yes, keeping it at that 10 till 2 means that we can just have a single staff member coming in to do the shift. Once we cross over the 4 hour threshold, then we probably need a second person to come and give breaks and things. So it's ideal to use the 4, and they do keep a track of visitors over that time. It's not a peak time for Methven at that point in time. There are more people around, but it's certainly not the peak like we see during winter.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions? Nope, so there's a recommendation there that we receive the report. Councillor Hooper, you'd like to move that? Councillor Cameron, second. Any discussion? No, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Carried, thank you. Right, item number 9. And that, we've got Mark coming, page 30 on it. And that is on the road closure for the Ashburton Car Club standing quarter mile sprint. Got Mark up here. Anything to add, Mark, or?
No, nothing
No.
to add.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from councillors? No. There's a recommendation there. Councillor Ellis. Seconded, Councillor Todd. Any debate? Would you like to speak to the motion? Yeah.
Ashburton Car Club, they run very, very good events, very safe events, get a lot of the community involved, so you're very, very happy to move this.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Aye. Against? No. Carried. Thank you. Thanks, Mark. And next we go to item number 10, page 36, the financial report. Have we got, we're probably, Helen's coming up. Flying through the meeting. Thanks, Helen. So we have the report in front of us, and just for those new councillors, what we normally do is go through page by page, and if you have a question on a certain page, then just stop me and you can ask that question. Councillor Ellis, did you have your light on? You were just going to say that?
Oh, well, I was just going to maybe a little explanation of the financial report for the benefit of the new ones and what stage of the year we're at, so it's only a certain percentage of the year and that sort of thing. But
yeah, and it says at the bottom of page 39, first 3 months or 25% of the year. So we'll start on page 39. I'll go slowly so Gordon can come through. Any questions on page 39? No. 40, 41, 42. Hi Gordon, come on up. We're just on page 42 going through. Page 43, wastewater. 44, stormwater. 45, stock water. 46, waste and recycling. Page 48, sorry.
Sorry, Madam Chair,
Hamish.
I wonder if on page 46, it's the first time council will see we do expect a permanent variance. So I wonder whether there's an opportunity just for Gordon or Helen to explain that, and what we're trying to do here is signal to councillors that we think the budget may be insufficient or by year end, which of course is not till next 30 June. Neil may have an answer as well, but
Thank you. I'll go to you, Neil.
Yeah, if I can add, this is because of the cost fluctuations in the contract, and we do get the indices, the cost indices, which is the sort of inflation adjustment to the contract as it relates to materials and labour, specifically to the contracts we have in the solid waste collection and the trans waste. We do get the results every 3 months, and last year they did jump up and exceeded what we had in our budget, and we just are monitoring it and just suggesting if the same happens this year as last year, we may be short. So it's just a sort of worst case scenario prediction.
Councillor Wilson.
How is that shortfall made up? Because obviously for 100,000, obviously next year when we budget would have to be up 100 plus some extra above that again. So where is the 200,000? How's that funded?
Through Millers. It's a combination of general rates and targeted rates, but the majority of that lands in the targeted rate space.
So it has to be picked up in the next year, does it? Because we can't.
In terms of a shortfall
Yes.
this year, yes, it would be, and we had that position last year, so when we look to do the annual plan budgets for this year, we will need to revisit where last year landed to collect that.
And just to complete that, of course, we don't have the full year when we set the budget, because the budget is set before year end. So that's why Helen's point is that however we ended up for the previous year, that won't yet be reflected in the budget. Our best estimate of it might be, but not the actual reality. So that's why it needs to flow through to the examination of the budget next year.
Thank you. 47, go to 48, recreational facilities. 49, excuse me. 50, we have 52, economic development. 54.
Oh, Mr. Mayor, sorry. Memorial halls, with one of the biggest problems for memorial halls is insuring them and the cost to the communities to do it. And I see insurance rates are reducing. Will that be told to the halls we meet? Because obviously the annual plans are coming up, and they may wish to revisit their insurance. Some of them to look at it, because obviously it's.
Tony.
Thank you, through you, Mayor Liz. We will talk to the Memorial Hall committees once they're up and running about their budgets, but Council seeks and sources the insurance policy on behalf of the halls. So whatever the centralised insurance number is, that will be rolled through appropriately into the budget, so they will have less discretion.
Councillor Cameron.
Looking at the variance in the elderly person's housing year to date, and the explanation is that the grant came in income was the previous year. So the previous year we were up, and this year we're down. So the up isn't carried over to cancel out the down. If you understand what I'm saying. You know how we talked about
Yes.
the refuge collection?
We collected the grant in the prior year. So last year was overstated in terms of the revenue and the expenditure as the project was completed last year, and this year will be underspent on the capex and the revenue as well.
Okay, righto. Thank you.
Back down to 54, parks and open spaces. 55, governance. 56, compliance. 58.
Can I just
Councillor
ask you a
Cameron,
quick question? Going back to the old chestnut of the insurance, on page 53, if that's all right with the economic development, and there's a favourable forecast there based on insurance premiums. So some are more favourable. It says that they're driven by market competition. Have we experienced that in other parts of our business?
It's just saying the insurance rate has come down off the high from the previous year, and therefore it's less than
Yeah,
the budget.
that's right. That's what it's saying.
Yeah.
So why has it come down from the high? And have other insurance premiums come down from a high of the previous year?
Well,
I'm asking for a general comment, not a specific comment.
we just go to the market, and the market priced it less than the year before. So there will no doubt be good reasons. Perhaps Gordon's got an answer for that.
Yeah, so when we went out to market, essentially there was more insurance providers within the wider market throughout New Zealand. In terms of going through the reinsurers internationally, this meant that there was more competition available, and so when we got our premiums quoted to the council, they came in much lower than we were expecting relative to prior years as well.
Yeah, I understand that. I just wonder what is driving that was my big question. What is driving the more insurance because everywhere I've read there's fewer insurance and less likely to take risk and insurance premiums will go up. I just wondered, that was all.
It just wasn't our experience when we went to market this year.
No, that's clearly all we can say.
Which is good for us. Councillor Hooper.
Thank you. The commercial property, the potential sale of sections at the business estate currently under review, will we get a report about or a general overview of where we're at with the sections and how everything's going out there? What's the...
Well, yes, we can do, but in a general sense, there is almost nothing going on out there. But we can have a more specific conversation with you about what the business estate is and the sections that are for sale, and in general, we can talk to you about that. But again, it's very market driven. The market is not currently buying sections in the business estate.
Thank you.
Councillor Ellis.
Thank you. Compliance and development operating income, and we've got a favourable balance forecast of 130,000. Is that parking tickets and things, is it, or is that what that is?
Yes, correct. So the fees associated, for example, with parking in disabled space drastically increased recently.
So they will go into that parking reserve account, which we have a limited things we can spend that on, but that's where that money will go to, into that reserve.
Yes, that's correct.
Councillor Wilson.
Page 58, are we on that far? Yep. I note that operating income, dividends and interest, we had a report last week was from ACL on their dividend for the year. Will that won't include that change in dividend, or does that?
No, this is the budget.
Budget.
So we will be able to more accurately forecast, given the information that we received from ACL. But the other major dividend, of course, is Transwaste. So we need to make assumptions too about the level of that dividend. And then we've got to factor in this particular budget also includes interest. So the forecasting will become more accurate with the knowledge of that conversation with ACL.
So I'm on page 59. 16, net debt and borrowings. 61. 62. And final page 64. No other questions? Nope. Thank you both. Someone like to move that we receive this report? Councillor Wilkinson and Councillor Cameron. Any discussion? No. All those in favour, aye. Against, no. Carried. Thank you. We're done. Need a recommendation to move into committee.
Happy to move.
Councillor Ellis. Councillor Hooper. All those in favour, aye. Carried. Thank you. Thanks, Jono.